Yo, welcome back to Obvious Bicycle. This is a Serie R player guide. The last one did pretty good, honestly. So I've been thinking of like continuing one of these for like a while now, but I wanted to get more promos out before I did this, so it's more meaningful. Okay, let's get to it. So we're gonna go through like goalkeepers. We're gonna go left backs, center backs, central defensive midfielders, center mids, attacking forwards, strikers, and your wingers. And at the end of the process, we're gonna build some squads for each budget. Let's get to it. So for goalkeepers, Serie A actually has some of the best, most value goalkeepers because of the size, I guess, of all of them. They're a lot. Like 6'5", 6'4", Handanovic, Szczesny, Donnarumma. They're all pretty big frame goalkeepers. But to start off with the cheap ones, Sirigu and Perin should get the job done, honestly. If I go for cheap, I probably get Perin, because I think Sirigu's price is a little high right now because of one of the SPCs. For mid tier, Szczesny, because he looks like a little more well balanced and more well rounded keeper with his positioning at 86. He is kind of more expensive than Donnarumma, but I think it's more valid, because Donnarumma is like a king in diving and reflexes, but if he had more well-rounded stats, then probably we'll pick him. The keeper I'm actually using for all my weekend leagues and has been doing really well, surprisingly, is the 87 in from Szczesny, which is I remember buying him around this price as well. I think 45k. I'm not quite sure if that is the price now, as the market is fluctuating so much this week. Because Szczesny is again the most well-rounded keeper. Everything is almost maxed out except for handling. Kicking, I wish it was higher, but at least it's not Handanovic level. There's another keeper that's about 70k, Inform Donnarumma. I think the second Inform, but I don't think he is that valuable if you're comparing it with the most expensive goalkeeper. Not the most expensive, but if you're going for Handanovic, the Inform Handanovic is like just superb, in this respect. Everything is maxed out. He's 6'4". I thought he was 6'1". Kicking, of course, we wished it was better, but I guess he's probably the best keeper right now, except for his I think his team of the live card is has the same stats. But do you really need a keeper that might increase the handling by 2? If the kicking goes up, that would be great. But for now, what more can you want, right? So to recap, Perin, Szczesny, and Inform Szczesny. For price, I prefer these three options. For the next one, center back. What are we looking at center back? We're looking at reactions. We're looking at agility. We're looking at pace, and we're also looking at generally how good they are on the ball, because this is more important than any other FIFA, to have your center backs comfortable on the ball, for them to be developing play to the left backs, to the full backs, to the defensive mids, to maybe a run through, I don't know, a lot ball to your striker if you're into that. So to start off, Murillo's goal card, great pace to start off from very cheap. Okay defense and physical, and has better passing than actually Manolas, which is I think the best cheap center back right now, just because he has all the he has all the attributes to be up there. The pace, defense, the physical. His passing is a little sketchy, but I think you can manage if you play him, just the conservative passes. Before I get into mid tier, I have to give a shout out to Koulibaly, which I think is one of the most interesting center backs that you can have because of the strength and pace. I wish his passing was more akin to real life, because his passing is so integral to Napoli's build-up play. I don't know what's going on in Napoli this year, but I think he deserves a better passing stat, like Tomiyasu, which one of my favorite center backs because of that 5-star weak foot. You know, he can switch the play out wide any way he wants. Great card. I used him over the SBC Jason Murillo, the Footmas card that I did about in December. They were pretty good for, you know, that period. December, January, I've moved past them now. And Nkulu is another centre back in the Serie A that I think, you know, deserves a bit of a shout just because he has all the basics. But for centre backs mid-tier that I am kind of recommending is Romagnoli if you want to buy them exactly right now, because Tomiyasu and Murillo, if you didn't have them, then I go for Tomiyasu and Murillo over Romagnoli for personal choices. But Romagnoli is really interesting because of the 99, I think, passing, short passing and long passing. Really cool scream card. His dribbling is a bit sketchy right now. You know, reactions, composure. I would pass him on and actually go to Juan Jesus, his life card, which might be getting an upgrade if Roma get through this round of 32. Which they probably should, and Juan Jesus is so good because of the composure. I think 87 composure. You know, great defensive, great physical, great aggression, great pace, okay passing. I mean, more than decent passing, good dribbling. Juan Jesus is honestly one of the best value centre backs that you can get in this game at the moment, and very few beat him. Maybe Luiz Felipe. But Luiz Felipe is, I think, about 190k now. He's revolving around this price. Luiz Felipe was a god for me last weekend league because of his standout trait, which is 94 reactions, which is very end game, and his pace. I think he can max out to like 96 pace with a shadow. Great physical, great defense. His balance is a little sketchy at 55, but it honestly did not hinder my experience of him that much, because Varane has like 40 balance or something, and he's still very meta in this game. Felipe is kind of like a roided up Varane in this respect, and I think if he was in the Premier League, his price would be, you know, quite a lot more considerable than what it is right now. And luxury player, you might call it, but Delict is a card that I hope I can kind of obtain come April if I settle out my attack, because this card I've heard is super sick, super sick with his dribbling, with his passing. I think he has like 99 strength with 93 aggression, which is like, you know, crazy too. With pace, he's just fully sorted out. You don't really have to limit yourself when you're playing the Delict. You can kind of maybe even play him as a CDM, because he's simply super good, but his price is just insane at the moment. I think it was about like 900k a month ago, which is really interesting. Going on from here, I'll pick Manolas in the cheap category, Juan Jesus in mid tier, and for expensive, I think Luiz Felipe gets the job done at the very meta. Just intercepts like it's like a, I don't know, man, like a ninja or something. And then we go to left backs. Things you need to look out in this area: agility, pace, how good they are on the ball. Because I don't think your fullbacks, if you're not having them on stay back while attacking, I think they definitely need to be a bit more dynamic in terms of like wingers that kind of occupy a very narrow space in the pitch. You gotta keep note of that long passing, short passing, so that when you get them into those wide positions, they can kind of recycle the ball, and that's why passing is so important. Crossing as well, if you get the ball overlaps. I like to play my fullbacks kind of like pushing forward, not stay back while attacking anymore, because I feel like they're more defensively sound. I don't know why, but that's just the new playstyle that I've been trying out, and it's been working considerably well. And my fullbacks just seem to be more active in the game, seem to be more involved in the game. So we start with Dalbert, the cheap Dalbert. You know, we'll get the job done. You know, Hernandez as well, kinda the same. I wish the defense, both of them, was a little better, but they are starter left backs. What can you say? Fullbacks, we go to Sandro and inform Hernandez, which is a big kind of upgrade compared to his 76 card, which is a +5 upgrade. I think his marking there's a reason why his defense is not super meta. I think it's one of those stats right there. I think interceptions or something, or defensive awareness. It's a little touch low. I go for Alexandro and disrespect the Shadow. Buy him with Shadow. He should be really okay for you, honestly. For the expensive, a lot of pros use Dalbert because I think he really fits a certain form of meta in this game with his passing attributes, with his defense and physical, and honestly the strong Brazilian link with Juan Jesus, which you can get with Sandro as well. But I think Dalbert's just a next step up because you don't have to increase the pace that much. With Sandro, you kind of have to put a shadow with him or it's bust. Anchor wouldn't. I think your fullbacks need to have like 90 plus pace, honestly. If you want them to be competitive in some form. And then we have the other inform Hernandez, which is very pricey. I'm not sure it's super worth it, so I mean, but these are like kind of totally different price points, so to each your own, I guess. Again, I pick Dalbert for cheap category. I'll pick who do you call this? I'll pick Sandro for your left back in mid tier because value wise he should be okay. And then I'll pick SBC Dalbert for the expensive scenario. And then we move on to right backs. I'm sorry for the brief interruption, and the flu can be very distracting. Right backs is a category that is you don't have a lot of options if you haven't done the SPCs, which I haven't. I'm shooting myself in the foot, and I'm like kinda not happy with myself for not doing any of these cards as well. Because Danilo, I think I missed out on him by like a couple of levels, or like I know I was really close. Quadrado, I wasn't convinced by his defensive ability, so I didn't do him, but now he kind of seems like such a interesting fullback option, like an attacking one. Malcuit was about 140k when he came out in January, and I don't think he was worth that much then, but if you think about it, I probably made a mistake. I mean, Zambrata is like it's like 600k right now or something. I think the 140 for Malcuit, even if you're just using him for 3 months, the fitness Malcuit, should still be a very valuable option. Because right now, what do you have, man? You have Goal Malcuit, you have Goal Florenzi to partner this right mid Politano, the 89 one, which is kind of crazy. So if you have kind of like an underwhelming option in the back, it's kind of sad, man, but we take what we can have, I guess. So for cheap, I'd pick any, honestly, whatever's cheaper. I prefer Florenzi because of the defense, but honestly I don't think you'll find much of a difference between the both of them. And for if I did a storyline card, I just wish I did Danilo, well, all these three are actually really interesting, so I don't know where to pick, and you can't even do that right now, so unless you do have them, I'd probably pick Malcuit. For central defensive midfielders, we're looking at your pace, we're looking at your dribbling ability, because as a defensive mid, if you're on the 4-2-3-1, or even if you're at the tip of a kind of like triangle 4-3-3, you still need to be pretty good on the ball. I think a lot of people underrate that in terms of agility and balance, and they get caught out in the middle of the pitch. Do not have that. Allan, perfect pure defensive midfielder. Even has pretty okay finishing if he pops up in the box. His live card I don't really recommend, because I think it would tank in value if Barcelona do defeat Napoli. But Napoli's kind of like a weird club, right? Because they've been having like a very distressful season at the moment, and I think they had some pretty good results against Liverpool in the group stages this year. So anything can happen. I mean, it's football. They do have a pretty impressive roster of attacking options and midfield and even defenders. So I mean Ospina, but don't count Napoli out before they do get knocked out officially. Matuidi, another good option, I guess. Around the same price. Both of them are excellent if you're having a starter team. Mid-tier, I don't really like Medel. I mean, I think he has like crazy finishing, but do you really need that? I mean, he has great shooting, but I think his finishing is really low. So I'm like, I'd still pick like Allan, in mid-tier. I think it's a really meta starter option. There's also the team, the road to the final Allan, which I mentioned earlier, which I think is about 230k. He represents a little bit of an upgrade on Allan, the gold card, but his speed I wish was higher. Because beyond that, Allan's a beautiful card. I used him. I wasn't super impressed. Now I'm using Icon Swaps Essien, which is a lot better, a lot faster than him, but for price, I just wait until the Napoli game is over, honestly. The Napoli-Barcelona game is over before I, put some funds in it. Because I know Tonali at 295 as an SBC is kind of a lot of money to put in untradeable. But, I mean, it's pros and cons, just weigh them. For expensive, I mean, those two Tonalis are such a different price point. That Tonali is really sick, honestly. Let's just have a look at him. But at this point, are you? Oh, he's 960k right now. I mean, at this point, are you really going to be having this much in a defensive mid? Because they had the Barella SBC recently, the Future Stars one, and I don't know, man, but Tonali does look a little endgame. 4-star weak foot. His passing is just incredible. His pace is great too. Dribbling, awesome. Defense is near perfect. Strength and aggression is, oh my god, endgame. Finishing doesn't even look that bad. But come on, man, 960k. I really think you should put that money into your attackers. Right at this point. The SBC is not too terrible too, but I kind of hold, man. Like, still, I think league SBCs, if you're doing them, you should have been doing them about a month earlier. I think at this point, I don't know if they're the best options right now, especially with having most of your coins liquid, or putting them in value SBCs that you can see them having them in the club for a while. Because I think a lot of future stars defensive mids, I mean, I would even put my money in I think headline is Nainggolan. I think having a meta card, tradable, a better option. So in this slide, I go for Allan. I go for road to the final Allan, and I stay clear of Gary Medel, honestly. Scream card, I think it's dipping even lower because it's getting to be a bit more irrelevant. Look at that. I mean, Allan has better defending. Both of these gold cards are better defending than Gary Medel, and better. That 5 pace is noticeable, in my opinion. So I stay away from Medel. Expensive, I wouldn't go for either option at the moment. Maybe I'll just consider road to the final Allan, but again after the Napoli game. Again with center mids, I mean, I put him here because Allan's kind of like a jack of all trades. For cheap, we'll go for a Nainggolan or Allan again, because again he can do the dual role. Nainggolan is sick, man. That Cagliari card. Even the expensive one is like such a cool option. Nicolo Zaniolo 90 strength for center mid is kind of awesome, but I think he does like some certain stats. Let's just go here. Zaniolo, sort by price. Again, oh damn. You have to do a certain amount of grinding, and I think he is not, not the best in terms of like, look at Daniel James squad battles, man. But Zaniolo of a shadow, I think he isn't that great in defending, but he's more of an attacker, and his shooting is a little bit weird because he has like 95 positioning, but he only has like 79 long shots. So with a Hunter or with a Deadeye, stats are just not complimentary for any chem style because he has 77 composure, but the rest of the dribbling stats are great. I think he's a fun card to have. 92 strength. Imagine if you're a true 1 goal, you're 6'3", you have great presence. Zaniolo is a fun option, man, but you gotta really evaluate the time that you're spending, to get him. And in that respect, I think Allan would fit the bill better because of his defensive abilities, even if a shadow. So I think Zaniolo with a defensive chem style does fall short in terms of defensive responsibility. I mean, he's also medium work rates, which I'm not a fan of in the center mid position. But then again, pros and cons, right? So again, cheap Allan, mid tier I'd pick Allan again. Expensive. I'm gonna go on a limb here and I'm gonna pick Dominguez, because with Nainggolan you're kind of paying hype price for the card, which I think is not the best. And Dominguez, I think you do get strong link to Tomiyasu as well, so that's cool. His shooting is not comparable to Nainggolan, honestly, but if you're using the 4-2-3-1, he can kind of do the job, I feel. Great defensive midfielder as well. For Dominguez, take a look at his stats. He is pretty sick defending. 64 composure is a problem generally for me, so is that price, is 339 worth it? I'd even go back, I'd even consider Tonali in this respect, because I think the composure kills the card. You're like a midfielder that has to pass. You need to pass under pressure. You need to defend when it's a counter attack and everybody's nervous. So the composure stat is very risky. So again, I'll pick Allan, and I'll pick Nainggolan, because I think Nainggolan is a really interesting card. I don't know if the Cagliari will advance, have 4 wins in a row, but I think he's a more usable card than Dominguez just because of that composure. So we move on to my favorite part of Serie A players, because in these are the 2 best goal cards hands down in Ultimate Team FIFA 20. Insigne and Martinez have stayed in my team. Now you can even use them for objectives, and they're just perfect. Their stamina, strength is absolutely horrendous, but their budget messes. I mean, what do you expect? Their agility, their balance, their quick turns. You play them like little maestros. Are just absolutely brilliant. 4-star. Great attacking work rate as well. Stamina, you might have to sub them out at the 70 or 65th minute, but the impact that they can have on game from minute 0 to minute 60 is just absolutely wonderful. Gomez is another cool shout too, the 85 Gomez. From mid tier, we're moving on to these options. We have the winner refresh, Eriksen. His pace, man, why? I mean, 100 on him would be good, but just wish he had more pace. And I think his agility and balance could be better as well. So he's 240k now, so he's starting to look more and more like a very decent option, honestly. With a Hunter, his agility and balance could be better, but I mean, you have a 5-star weak foot, you have near perfect passing, you have 97 stamina. He's gonna be consistent for you in game, with that 100 cam style. So Eriksen's a beast, man. 5-star weak foot, so important. Obviously, But, you know, Mertens is more of a center forward. Eriksen is more of an attacking mid. It depends on what formation you're using them in. It depends on your playstyle as well. I love high agility players. Mertens, you know, the team of the group stage for me any day. But I can understand how Eriksen's 5-star weak foot can play, you know, such a significant role in the pass, in the final ball, in the shots, the long shots. So Eriksen's a really important shot for expensive as well. Gomez, I mean, this is my recommendation for between, if you don't want to pay that much for Eriksen, Inform Gomez, Pablo Gomez. Wish I did his Champions League card, man, but my favorite card on this list, which I think is a little overpriced at the moment, but 2-3 months back when he was 780k, absolutely brilliant, man. His long shots, shot power, just out of this world. He's one of my favorite cards in this FIFA. Absolutely brilliant card. Now people I think are overshadowing him a little with Jonathan Ikone Future Stars. You can get for a fraction of the price and can deliver very similar results, and with like a shade more pace as well. Good thing of Insigne is his 99 stamina, the Scream Insigne. Just imagine goal Insigne with, like, you know, a significant strength upgrade with like almost 30 more stamina, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the shot is also kind of ridiculous, man. You're not missing. I would probably even use him for a striker if you can use him in a 2-striker formation or a false 9 position. And Insigne would be great with a Deadeye. For kind of both of them. So in this case, I'll pick Insigne for cheap. Mid-tier, I pick Gomez. Amongst mid-tier and expensive, I pick Eriksen at this point, which is kind of weird. But I just think his passing is quite commendable. I mean, and now his price is dropping more. So I mean, Mertens in the forward role, he could be cool as well because he delivers kind of like a similar value to Scream Insigne, but he's not at that price. And for Scream Insigne, if you have the budget, go for him. He's absolutely game changer, man. One of my favorite players in FIFA. I sold him for so cheap, man. What the hell is wrong with me? And then we move the wingers. We move to Alexis Sanchez. There was the flashback card. I didn't really like him because the pace is weird. I mean, in this respect, you're kind of picking shooting because Costa's footman's card, you can't even finish with him, man. I'd pick Sanchez, honestly. Just so weird. Laxalt is okay, I guess. The dribbling is a bit underwhelming at this point, but which is why I'm picking Insigne. But I think if you're on the wing, you're coming back to defend, you do need stamina, and Insigne is just not going to provide that. And how important is pace when your strength is so low, when you're trying to hold off the fullback or the center back? So, you know, that's a minus point when you're looking at Insigne. He's not, you know, the super great, you know, standard that you might think he is. And for expensive, with a refresh, we have the SPC Verdi, which is quite a compelling option at this point. And let's just take a look at him. For left wing, what do we have? Verdi. So if you're looking at this card in Footbin, you slapped a Deadeye on him. He's quite good, man. But you know, 80 stamina, huh? You gotta take note his 5-star weak foot, so that's a very cool part about the card. And he's about 280k right now. He was in one of the new SBCs, in the league SBC options. I think if you want to do him, you should do it now, man, because what a cool option he is, man. Even the sniper chemistry as well, he presents a certain set of value for now. Even, you know, I think he can get a great job done. He's kind of like Politano, but we're with a 5-star weak foot, so like, you know, we're not joking around here. This guy can shoot really good. And then, I mean, Ronaldo is like kind of I won't go for Ronaldo, man, unless you're like changing to a striker, because I think the passing on him is not up to par if you're using a chem style. either way, because if you use Deadeye, I don't think he has that pace. If you use a Hunter, he's more suited to be a striker, honestly. And again, his balance is not for this FIFA, I feel. If you're a diehard Ronaldo fan, just get the gold card, man. So for this option, we'll pick Verdi. For value, I think he's really, really good. For expensive, I think he even beats that 1 million Ronaldo in a certain number of points, like balance and agility. And a 5-star weak foot. Wow. Really noticeable in game. For mid, I'd pick Insigne because Laxal is just not a player that I feel excited using. For cheap, I might go for Costa because I might just try to cut in, you know, with Costa. Just the more dynamic option. I know we can't finish, but Costa is really good for playing left wing back if you think about it too, man. But I just think Sanchez is such an underwhelming option. They just might as well pick Costa. So going on there, we have right wing. Chiesa, not as good as Verdi, but again significantly cheaper. You know, another of the winter refresh cards. I'd pick, you know, Jose Callejon, because I think he's more well-rounded over Lozano. Again, Chucky Lozano, some people have a sentimental value to him, but in this option, I feel like you should just grind for Politano. And I think most people have grinded for Politano, the 87 card at this stage of the game, which I think, you know, him and Insigne, wow, what a dream, man, Scream Insigne. And now with his upgraded card, I wonder if they're gonna upgrade the card even more. Okay, just before I go into Politano, for cheap, I'm gonna pick Lozano. No, I'm gonna pick Callejon. Sorry for the error. For mid, what options do you really have? If you don't want to pick Politano, but I really recommend you take Politano. His strength is a bit weird, Politano, both versions. But come on, man, the finishing, the passing, man, it's gonna be so amazing. And this is why I feel really bad when the servers crashed yesterday. And they got 4 crosses down with Politano. What a joke that was. Politano. You have to grind for this card if you're having a Serie A team. Especially in this game. He is amazing. He's like a mini Messi at this point. What can you say? So, and again, he's kind of free if you have time. So, and then we go to strikers. Lautaro had a +3 upgrade, which is fantastic. For Hunter, he's awesome. Good strength as well. Okay passing. Decent dribbling. Team of the group stage, Martinez. A lot of people have been using him. I think he got upgraded as well because of the winter refresh. This is one of the best value cards, man. Team of the group stage, Martinez. Will do a lot of damage to you. And for expensive, there isn't really a mid option in this. We have Goal Ronaldo. If you know how to use him, a Hunter cam style will be amazing. An engine will be great too. I prefer the engine because I think you need to upgrade his passing, man, and his agility and balance. But I mean, one of the greatest of all time. I think most people will be able to use him better than Ibra, whose price should be a bit lower by now. But a winter refresh, Ibra really made him very usable, man. But agility and balance, man. I mean, with these foot champs weekend servers being so shit recently, I really want responsiveness, man. I mean, Ronaldo's son kind of feels stiff already, so are you really gonna take the gamble on Ibrahimovic? And for really expensive options, I mean, if you're going for Ibra, you might as well go for Future Stars Martinez, which is such a sick card, and you know, valued, you know, more reasonably right now when you're looking at icon options, because Martinez is just insane strength, you know, excellent shooting, dribbling, pace. Your attackers is what you should put your money towards, I feel. And then we have Ronaldo, team of the year. None of us can afford this. So for cheap mid, we'll go for team of the group stage Martinez. For expensive, we'll go for Goal Ronaldo. And for really expensive, I mean, again, in between Ibrahimovic and Martinez, I'll go for Martinez. I think Martinez can just get the job done at this point. If you're Ronaldo, yeah, whatever, man. But Martinez, best option for him, was expensive. And then we go to the squad builders. And today we're gonna have a few more squads for you. This is the cheap starter squad. We have Costa here. We have normal Martinez, Callejon. Insigne is gonna be the difference maker in this team. Allan and Matuidi to provide that grit in midfield. Defenders could be better, but I wanted to stick to a low budget of 87k. Maybe you can have like a Juan Jesus here or something. The final version, Malcuit. What other options do you have if you're not going for the other three, better Serie A right backs? Manolas, Hernandez, Szczesny, just afford him. Come on, man. And then the next one, we have kind of like a realistic middle team. We have Zaniolo. You gotta grind for him. Politano. Again, essential in any team. Team of the group stage, Martinez should be able to do the job for you. Goal cut Allan is still relevant in this respect and not very much different than his group stage counterpart. Team of the group stage, Mertens will be there for you. We have left wing Insigne. Again, stamina's kind of a problem, but if you didn't do the Alexis Sanchez thing, it's hard, man. Unless you go for Verdi. We have Sandro in your fullback position, Malcuit again, Juan Jesus and Luiz Felipe, which will provide the difference for you in defense, and infirm Szczesny, which I think is just perfect at this point. And for really expensive, we've cut out the leaks. We've cut out, I think, left wing Ronaldo or goal Ronaldo, because we're looking at what's the most effective. This team is still really expensive. It's about 3 million. Oh god. We have Scream Insigne, which is going to be the main driver of your team. Verdi, amazing. Martinez, I put most of the money in the attackers here. Again, we have Juan Jesus and Luiz Felipe for your defense options. Malcuit, if you didn't do him, you can find another, maybe a Zambrata or something. Dalbert, if you're really going to go for gold fullback, I don't think he's a luxury option at all. Goalkeeper, again, you can have Inform Szczesny, Allan group stage. I mean, if you're spending a little bit more money, again, it's a toss-up with SPC Tonali or the 1 million one. But again, I'm thinking you put the majority of your coins in the attackers will make the difference. Verdi SPC should be okay. The 89 Politano should be great at this point in time. This is a really fun team to make, man. And that's it. If you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I guess I might be doing another of these guides. Again, if you have any feedback, if I'm talking too slow, you can always put it in the feedback section. I mean, the comment section or something. I mean, it's a very impromptu thing. We're just going through so many players. It's kind of like a stream, but on YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. Bye. Hope you guys have had some good information from here.